I'm going to be attempting to survive 100 days as Michael Myers. My only loyalty was to vengeance and to defeat the Ender Dragon to show my worthiness. I will stop anyone and anything that gets in the way of that, and I'll make sure of it. I spawned in as Michael Myers. My goal is to take over and defeat the Ender Dragon, so let's get to it. So right when I spawned in a brand new world, I started chopping down a tree for wood, then crafted a craft table along with a few sticks. I crafted a pickaxe, axe, and a wooden sword, and then started running around getting myself familiar with this world. I then started to collect some cobblestone to upgrade my axe, pickaxe, and sword to stone. On day 2, while I was exploring the map, I came across a creeper and went straight for it and started attacking it and swinging on it. After a few hits, it finally went down. Then I saw a spider and started swinging on it and took it out with a couple of hits. A horde of mobs started coming at me, so I escaped because I didn't want to waste my resources on it and I felt like I wasn't prepared. On day 3, I was doing some more exploring on the map during the day and I stumbled across a broken nether portal. I've never seen this before in Minecraft. I don't know if this is a new thing or I just never seen it. But there were some nether blocks and there was actually surprisingly a gold block too, so I decided to mine that up. Walking further up, I saw a bunch of pumpkins and decided to mine them up because it's Halloween season, so why not? I started to attack the sheep and then noticed a village far away and decided to get a bit closer. When I got closer, I decided to wait till it gets really dark so I can do what I do best. Then it finally became dark and I went inside the village and started taking out the sleeping villagers' lights one by one. And then I closed the door and made sure no one was looking. I woke the villager up and did what I do best. On day 4, after sleeping in the villager's house I took over, I started decorating it with the pumpkins I mined earlier just to get in the Halloween vibe. After decorating with pumpkins, I thought it was time to start really mining and try to get some iron and diamond. After finding a mining area right next to the village, I had trouble getting down and was trying to figure out how to get down there without taking any damage and also to get back easily. So then I started mining a staircase downwards and ended up in the cave, so I have easy access going in and out of the cave. It was time to start mining, so I entered the cave entrance I built and right away I was met with the spider, which took a couple of hits, then destroyed it. I needed some coal, so I started mining some just in case if I needed it later to make some tools. I kept going lower and lower and was met with this waterfall to get even lower, so I jumped right in it if it meant getting closer to diamonds. I started mining some lapis lazuli and also a lot of iron and gold. I kept on digging and had no luck for diamonds for hours, so I went back to get some food and went to make a new pickaxe and sword since all that mining damaged it. I also made myself a shield, boots, and helmet. While on my hunt for diamonds, I came across some typical mobs and fought them off with my iron sword. Still on my search for diamonds, I kept coming across a lot of gold, but still no diamonds, so I just kept on mining. Then finally, after an immense amount of time, I came across my first diamond, and there was actually quite a few. After that, I kept on finding more and more diamonds, and it became a breeze after that. After all that mining and time down in the cave, I decided to finally come back up and rejuvenate so we could get on with the next thing. So after that, I went ahead and crafted myself a diamond sword, axe, and pickaxe. I also crafted full diamond armor, so that completes the first goal of this world. So now it was about time to start working on a base, but before we did all of that, there had to be a few preparations that needed to be completed before building the base. So the first thing I had to do was prepare the land, so I started knocking down a lot of dirt to make it flat, which took a pretty long time, and also using the dirt to layer the areas to make it even flatter, which took the whole day. The next thing I had to work on to actually even build the base was to gather a lot of materials, and since this is survival, this would take a while. So I went to gather a lot of wood from the trees and also went into a nearby cave to gather a lot of cobblestone because I'm gonna need this for the base. Now it was time to start building the base. I really wanted to make this house look decent and wanted a 2-story house, so I got to work. This took up a lot of time, and this was harder than expected because if I wanted to build a 2-story house, I would have to build, climb up, taking fall damage. It was pretty rough, and my house actually got blown up by a creeper while I was building it. It was pretty annoying. Mobs kept spawning on me, and it was a hassle, but we got through it. And then finally, I completed the house. The house is basically finished except just for the inside, but we can work on that later. So this is what the house looks like from the outside. It's a nice little 2-story house. You go up the stairs. This is the first story right here. I have a lot of chests on the right, and then on the left, some furnaces, some crafting table. It's not done, but this is just how it is for now. The base, and then to get downstairs, you actually have to go from the left side in the back, and this is the downstairs. Like I said, it's not done yet, but just have the, my bed and stuff, just the essentials. So now after all that work on the house, it's complete. So now it's time to move on to the next part of this mission, and that is to reach the nether dimension. So now I have to go find obsidian, so let's do that. Earlier I remembered I ran into a broken nether portal, so I decided to go search for it to get some obsidian. I ended up finding it and took all the obsidian from it back to my house. I decided to build the ender portal in the back of my house outside so it's easy to get to. I then built the ender portal but realized I needed flint and steel to light it up, so then I went searching for gravel. I finally found it, then I mined some for some flint to make flint and steel. After coming back to the house, I went and crafted some flint and steel and went to the back of my house where I built the ender portal and then I lit it up. Now we got that out of the way, so now I wanted to prepare for what's next. So I decided to make an enchantment table, but then I realized I needed some more obsidian and also needed more lapis if I wanted to enchant all my gear, so I went back in the cave and started mining for both. I then ran into obsidian once again and also noticed a chest which had some iron nuggets and some enchanted tools, which I grabbed. Then I started mining all the obsidian for my enchantment table. Once I did that, I went deeper to the cave to find some lapis, and this actually took longer than expected just for some lapis. Then finally, about an hour later, I found some and also found some diamonds by accident also. I returned back to the surface after mining and went ahead and crafted an enchant table and used my XP levels and some lapis to enchant all my armor. I started with enchanting all my tools, my sword, my axe, my pickaxe, and then I went with all my armor as well. And now I have everything enchanted, so now I feel even better to fight the Ender Dragon, so now let's get on with the next thing. I then went and entered the nether for the first time in this world and started wandering around exploring the nether. I then realized I wanted to make a brewing stand, so I went hunting for some blaze rods. I ended up running around for quite a while, then ended up finding a blaze spawner. The blazers were quite annoying, but I ended up getting what I needed. After killing many blazers, I made my way back home from the nether and went to my crafting table and crafted a brewing stand to make my strength potions. I am Michael Myers after all, and strength is my specialty. I then went ahead and made some empty glass bottles and filled them up with water. But before I could fill them up with water, I had to go actually find some water because I had none nearby. While searching for my water source, I discovered a huge underwater cave which I've never seen before, and it looked pretty epic, so I decided just to jump in there and use that as my water. After filling up all my glass bottles with water, I built back up from the water cave and went back home. When I came back home, I went to my brewing stand and made strength 2 potions for when I need it. I realized I'm gonna have to get ender pearls and more blaze rods, so I went back into the nether. Once I entered the nether, I started exploring and trying to find some endermen, and I ended up finding a lot of them and just started going ham. After arriving back from the nether, I decided to make a bow and enchant it. And then I crafted up some Eyes of Ender and finally beginning the journey of locating the stronghold. I then started throwing the eyes so it can help me locate the stronghold, and this took ages because I was really far from the stronghold. It turned dark and I started fighting a bunch of mobs on the way to find the stronghold. After running around for quite a while, the Eye of Ender went to the ground, which meant I was right above it, and I started digging down and fell right into the stronghold. When I went down, the stronghold was pretty dark and I actually got lost down here. I then finally ended up finding the end portal. Now we are one step closer to completing the final goal of the video, and that was to defeat the Ender Dragon. I then started placing the eyes right on the end portal, and the end opened up. And then I made my way to the end. Right when I entered the end, I spawned underground, so I had to dig my way up to the surface. After I went in the middle of where the Ender Dragon is, and I built a little safe area so when I get weak, I can heal without getting hit. Once I did that, I got my bow, and with the arrows I had, I started knocking down the end crystals. Some of the crystals were really hard to reach, so I placed water under me and built my way up to them. Then after I did that, I arrowed them and then jumped right into the water, so I take no fall damage and ended up destroying all of the end crystals. Then finally, it was time to defeat the Ender Dragon. I started by shooting it with arrows and actually hit it a good amount of times with it, but I knew this would take a while. I started using my sword as well and hit the Ender Dragon many times and waited a very long time for it to return back down. Then finally, what seemed like the longest dragon fight, I took the final hits and defeated the Ender Dragon. I then collected all the XP that was scattered after defeating the Ender Dragon, and then I collected the Dragon Egg. First thing I had to do was go ahead and find one of these end cities. I ran around for quite a while and found my first end city, and luckily for me, it had the end city ship. I then looted some of the city and then made my way to the ship and looted it as well. And then I finally got the Elytra. I went ahead and went over to the front of the ship and got the dragon head as well. After defeating the Ender Dragon, I only had one more goal left, and that was to wipe every villager on this world. So for the rest